It's been a hot minute since I made a video, but I'm back with my biggest one yet. Hope you're having a great day, everyone, and today I'm going to teach you basically everything you'll need to know for modding your Wii U and modding your vWii. This video is quite long, so I highly encourage you to make use of the timeline feature as well as the timestamps in the description, because you may not need to know absolutely everything here. Alright, to do this, you're going to need obviously a Wii U console, basic or deluxe is just fine, a PC or a Mac. You need an SD card for this, and you need a USB for one of the steps, so it's probably a good idea to just have one. You're also going to need an SD card reader if your computer doesn't have an SD card slot, and if you're doing vWii modding, you'll need a Wiimote. I highly recommend having a normal Nintendo branded Wiimote, as third-party emotes as well as Motion Plus modes can cause issues with some homebrew apps. Alright, now for the disclaimers. My previous methods were just dumping games and not permanent console modifications. This guide is a permanent console modification, and as a result, it is possible to brick your system. If you brick your system, I take no responsibility for anything you may have done. The chances are low, but it can always happen. Be cautious, create a NAND backup, I'll show you how to do that later. Also, video guides like these tend to go out of date eventually, so in the description I'll have a written guide and I'll pin a comment if it does go outdated. I'll have download links for everything in the description as well, so let's get into it. The very first thing you're going to need to do is get your SD card and format it as FAT32. If it is over 32 gigabytes, you'll need GUI format, a tool I will leave in the description. Make sure you are selecting the correct drive because you do not want to erase your C drive or any other drive. For the allocation unit size, set it to 32,000. Then click Start and format your drive. From there, you're going to go to the Google Drive link and download the zip file I have prepared. Then you're going to extract it to the root of your SD card. Once it's on there, we're done with the PC for now, and we're going to head on to our Wii U. The first thing we're going to do is make a NAND backup in case anything goes wrong. In order to restore this, you will need soldering experience. However, it's better to have at least some form of backup than nothing at all. You're going to open up your Wii U's internet browser, then go to wiiuexploit.xyz, all one word like this. Once you're on the website, you're going to hold down B and click Run Homebrew Launcher. Keep holding down B until the Homebrew Launcher appears. If you get a message saying could not find a compatible FAT32 storage device, you may have formatted your SD card wrong, or the files may not have copied over properly. Once you see the boot selection, go to NAND Dumper. When it comes to dumping NAND, everything should be set to yes except for dump MLC. MLC NAND is optional as it will take a very long time to dump, and it's basically all of your games and save data. For the purpose of saving time, I'm not going to do this, however it's probably a good idea that you do. Press A once your settings are selected to start the dump. It'll take probably about 10 minutes to dump all this. Once the dump is done, shut off your Wii U and put the SD card into your computer. Copy the NAND dump files somewhere safe so that where you won't lose them. Once that's done, you're going to insert your SD card back into your Wii U, power it back up, and go back to the internet browser. You're going to go back to the Wii U exploit page, and this time, instead of holding B, you're going to click Run Homebrew Launcher while holding X. Once you're here, you're going to go to the installer environment. Just hit A to open it up. Click check to see if Payload Loader can be installed. It should say it can, and once it does, click install and update. After it's done, it will shut the console down. Turn your console back on, and this time open up your Health and Safety Information app while holding the X button. Once you're in the environment selector, go back to installer. Click check. But this time, instead of clicking install and update, click on boot options. Then, click A to press switch to payload loader. Once it's done, the console will shut down. This time when you turn your console on, you should be greeted with a different menu. Hover over Tiramisu and click Y to make it your default boot. Then press A to launch it. Now you're in the Tiramisu boot selector, you can select where you want your console to go when you turn it on. For most people, you're just going to want Wii U menu. Hover over Wii U menu and click Y to set it as your default. Then click A to launch it and you'll be back in the Wii U menu. Now that you've modded your system, you can dump a game if you want. To do this, open up your Homebrew Launcher by opening MeMaker and make sure that there is currently no game in the console. Once you've ejected your game, if there is one, open up Dumpling. Once you're in the main menu, simply click Dump a Disk Game, and now it should ask you to insert your disk. Once it's recognized it, you're going to select your storage location. In my case, I'm going to be using a USB drive, so I'm just going to plug it into the console and change to USB drive. The user you select will be the save data that is dumped with the game. And then once that's done, just hit start. It'll ask you if you want to scan your game. You can click yes if you want, it'll take a bit longer, but it will give you some extra stats, or you can just dump. In my case, I'm going to hit no. Oh yeah, and if you inserted your USB drive after you open Dumpling, it may crash. Just open it back up and repeat the process. Your console will either be shut off or you'll be on the dumpling main menu. If you're done, you can just hit home to exit back to the homebrew launcher and then home to go back to Meat Maker. But if you want to dump a digital game, hit dump a digital game and it should show a full list of all digital games found on your Wii U. This includes one from external hard drives. Just hit A on the games you want to dump and hit plus to go to the next stage. Again, choose your dump location and choose your user and hit start and scan the game if you want. And that's basically all there is for dumping games. You can dump files to use Semu Online if you want, but if you're fully done with dumping now, press B, it'll ask you if you want to exit, click yes, and your console will shut off. You can now use these for WUP Installer, which I'll show you how to do very briefly, or you can use them in Semu. For installing games locally with WUP Installer, make sure that the game you want to install is on your SD card in a folder called Install. You sadly can't install games off of a USB drive. This game will be installed to your system NAND or hard drive once it's installed, but if you want to actually install it to the system initially, you need to have it on the SD card. Once your game is on your SD card in the install folder, you're going to open up WUP Installer GX2. From here, there should only be one game option, and it should be the game you have on your SD card. Simply click it and click install. It'll ask you if you want to install it. Click yes, and then choose where you want to install it to. NAND is your system storage, and USB is obviously your USB storage device. Then the game will install. This will take a bit of time, and once it's done, it'll kick you back to the WUP installer. Simply hit home to go back to the homebrew launcher and hit home again to go to Meat Maker, then close out of Meat Maker, and you should see your new game on the Wii U menu. For FTPing into your Wii U, make sure you already have a FTP client installed on your computer, preferably FileZilla. Then, on your Wii U, open up the homebrew launcher and go to FTPU. It should say it is listening on the IP and the port. The IP is the first set of numbers, and the port is the set of numbers after the colon. From here, you're going to go on your PC and open up FileZilla and go to Site Manager under File. Then, you're going to create a new site with the host of your Wii U's IP, the port of the Wii U's port, which is almost always 21. Then for security type, click only use plain FTP, and for logon type, anonymous. Then click connect, and you should be into your Wii U. I'm not going to go over a complex file system structure, but you're almost always going to be in user, and anything in title is a game, and anything in save is save data, as that's where save data and games are stored, which is probably what you're going to want to be dumping. To get more out of your Wii U's homebrew, to install tweaks, install emulators, games, all that, you're going to want to open up your homebrew launcher and go to the homebrew Appstore. There may be two of them initially. You can open either one and it should be fine. Once you're in the App Store, feel free to browse and install whatever you'd like. There's a lot of great stuff in here. For the tutorial, I'm just going to install RetroArch, which is, I think, an absolute must-have for Wii U Homebrew. It's basically a lot of emulators crammed into one. Just go to it and hit install. And once it's done, just click minus to exit. Then you should see on your Homebrew launcher your newly downloaded app. Alright, time for the virtual Wii modding. To install the Homebrew channel, it's extremely simple. Open up your Homebrew launcher on your Wii U by opening Mi Maker, then open compatinstaller.elf. Then just click A, and it should install the Homebrew channel right to your vWii. Once that's done, you're going to go ahead and boot into your vWii. And you should see on the Wii menu the Homebrew channel right there. For CIOS, or custom iOS, you're going to open up the Homebrew channel. And you're going to go ahead and open up the D2X CIOS installer. For your CIOS, you have to make sure it's set to V10 Beta 52 D2X V10 Beta 52 vWii. This will remain the same across all of them we install. For the first CIOS, set the base to 56 and the slot to 249. Then just hit install. Once it's done installing, we're going to install the next one, which in this case is going to be base 57 slot 250. Again, just hit A to install. And for the final one, we're going to be doing CIOS base 58 and CIOS slot 251. Hit A to install again. And this time after it's installed, you're just going to hit B to go back to the Homebrew channel. Once you're back in the Homebrew channel, open up the patched iOS 80 installer for vWii. Read the warning, and once the time has elapsed, hit any button to install iOS 80. Once it's done, hit any button to exit, and you'll be back in the Homebrew channel. Now your vWii is fully modded. For dumping games, open up Clean Rip. It'll give you a disclaimer, just hit A to continue. For checksum calculations, I would hit no, but you can hit yes if you want. Then you're going to select your device type you're dumping to. In my case, it's the SD card. Once it's inserted, just hit A to continue. Then it's going to ask you to insert your game. If there's already one in there, you can just hit A to continue. Okay, now the settings do matter, and I'm really sorry for the poor example I have in the video. For dual layer, you're going to select no unless the game you're dumping is one of these games on the screen. For the chunk size, you're going to put it to max, and new device per chunk, you're going to put no. Please do these settings. My settings in the video are completely messed up. Once you've got all your settings in, hit A to continue, and if you want, you can choose to remember your settings in case you're dumping any games after this one. Once that's done, your game is dumping. This will take a little bit of time, so sit back, relax, do something else, come back to it later. And once it's done, you can shut off your vWii. Now, the game is going to be split into two parts, so we have to fix that. You're going to go on your PC, insert your storage device, and open up CMD. It's really easy to get to. Just hit Windows, and then CMD in search, and open it up. Then you're going to type in the drive letter that you have the game on. In my case, it's F. Then you're going to open up the directory where you have the game, and you're going to copy it and type CD space your directory. Then you're going to copy this command in the description and paste it into the command prompt. It is currently combining the two files together. This will take a little bit of time. Once it's done, you have a fully functional Wii ROM you can use on Dolphin, or I'll show you how to get back on the Wii using USB Loader GX right now. For USB Loader GX, you're going to need a USB storage device, preferably over 32 gigabytes so you have a lot of room for games, and you're going to need Wii Backup Manager. I'll link it in the description to download. Once you have it downloaded, extract it somewhere and open up Win32 or Win64 depending on what PC you have. When it asks for administrator privileges, just click yes. Once you're in Wii Backup Manager, go to the options at the top, then go to Settings, then under Titles, click Use Game TDB Title File and Folder Names. Then go to Drive 1, select Inactive, and pick your drive. In my case, it's Drive G, which is quite easy to tell by just going to File Explorer. It'll tell you there's no WBFS folder, just create it. Then to add games, go to Files, Add, Files, and select where your Wii ROMs are located. Then just double click it to add it in. Once it's in there, check the game and click Transfer, Drive 1 to transfer it to your USB device. This will take quite a bit of time, and if it looks like it's frozen, it's not, it's just transferring the game. Now that you've transferred one game, you can transfer any others, or you can close Wii Backup Manager and move on. For GameCube games, you're going to navigate to your USB device and create a new folder at the root called Games, all lowercase. Then, in the Games folder, create another folder with the name of the game you are adding. In my case, it's Super Smash Bros. Melee. Then, add a flat open bracket at the end, and then go to your web browser and go to gametdb.com. In the search bar, type in the name of the game. In this case, it is GALE01. So just copy that. And then go back to your files, rename, and then inside the bracket, paste that, and then close off the bracket. Once you have your folder, you're going to find your actual ROM for the game, and you're going to move it over to your USB device. Once it's moved over, you have to rename it to game.iso. If you don't have file extensions turned on, just rename it to game. Turn on your vWii and insert your USB drive into the back top USB port. This is the only one that will work, so make sure it's in the right one. Once it's in, open up the Homebrew channel and navigate to USB Loader GX. Once you're in, you should see this screen, and I'm really quickly going to run through all of the different sorting options there are. The star will select favorites. The ABC, you can cycle through between sorting by alphabetical, rating, player number, and play count. For the SD card icon, you can select which games you want to show up. So if some of your games aren't showing up, for example, your GameCube games aren't showing up, just make sure GameCube games is checked and click OK. You can create categories if you have a lot of games and want to separate them easily. And then these are the different sorting types. There's the default one, which is the list icon. There's the wall. There's the library. And there's the channels. You may notice that there are no box art for the games we have installed. To fix that, go to the list sort and click on where it says no image found. Then, select all cover types and click OK. Then, yes, this will download the cover art from the internet. This may take a little bit depending how many games you have. If it says there are any files not found in the server, just click OK. And now all of your games have box art. To launch a game, just click it and click Start just like you would in the Wii menu. Your GameCube games should automatically launch Nintendo. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was really fun to make, and it also took quite a bit of time, so if this helped you in any way, I'd really appreciate a like, and that's all I really ask for. Hope you guys have a great day and have fun.